Business models answer three questions at its most simplest form. How do we add the most value to our consumers, our members, our customers? How do we create the most sustainable financial model? Because even if we are a nonprofit, we need to figure out how do we create a sustainable business model so we can keep doing the great things we're doing. And then how do we create the most differentiation? People today have millions of options for where they spend their time, where they give their mind share, where they spend their money. How do we create an opportunity to differentiate what we're doing? So I'm going to share with you a few examples of business model innovation. Examples that are emerging startups and companies that are doing things related to a lot of kind of the sharing economy and what millennials like, but also these are specifically related to what I think are important for community banks, credit unions, and financial institutions overall as well. So first one, mediate the transaction. Create a business model that mediates the transaction. There's a lot of sharing happening these days. Neighbor goods is one simple example of where you're in your storage shed at home or in your closet. You have a lot of stuff that you don't use every day, shovels or snow blowers or whatever you've got. Your neighbors can go onto Neighbor Goods and see what you have and then borrow it. And so they're facilitating the community sharing things together, saving money, saving time, saving resources in the environment. That's mediating the transaction of that community building. Other examples is happening in insurance. Friendsurance, if you haven't checked them out, they're actually in Europe, but it's kind of gaining steam around peer-to-peer insurance. They can create a collective, and if you don't make any claims, you can actually get 40% of your premiums back. So they're trying to reward kind of good behavior, so to speak. And of course, you've got some of the peer-to-peer lending. I know this kind of been in the press recently, but it's still about trying to figure out how do you mediate the transaction through a business model. That's the kind of business model it is. So mediate the transaction is one key business model element that I think everyone should be considering. Second one, build relationship bridges. So what does that mean? People in the community, oftentimes want to share and learn about what's happening in the community. And you can talk about community as a global community. You can talk about community as a kind of geographically focused community. But here's a simple example, mealsharing.com, which is basically, it's kind of like the Airbnb of sharing meals. But basically, you kind of say, here, I want to share a meal with somebody who is coming to visit from out of town, and I'm going to provide them with local food, whether I'm in another country or wherever, and then they broker that relationship and they create the bridge, and there's a fee involved, but at the same time, they're building relationship bridges to people who wouldn't normally meet together. That is a huge value add as a business model in the new economy. There's financial services examples. Citi actually has these kind of meetups where financial services experts come together with startups who are interested in innovating and even disrupting financial services. And they're building, this is in Miami, is where they started, but they're building community through and creating relationship bridges with the financial services industry and startups and entrepreneurs. Here's the third one. Help people help others. Okay? Help people help others. Doing good, serving others, serving the community is really, I think, an emerging need and unarticulated need as well as articulated need, especially those millennials, right? Here's an example. I was speaking at the International Car Wash Show last year. Yes, there is a big show of people who run car washes in the United States. And I was facilitating a panel, and the owner of Quick Car Wash in Colorado was on the panel, and he told a story. He basically said that he has a car wash, and that across the street from his car wash is a gas station. And every weekend, a team from the local high school has a car wash at the gas station. Little competition. But how do you stomp out the competition when it's the local team at the high school, right? You don't want to do that. So it was really eating into, it was killing his business, really. So what he did is he reached out to the high school. He reached out to the teams, And he basically said, if you want to do a car wash, come to my car wash. I've got everything here. We'll set you up. You'll use the facility. We'll charge what we normally charge, and we will split the profits down the middle. He said that on a typical Saturday, when he is without the teams kind of sponsoring this, he'll make a certain amount of money. With the teams sponsoring it and him partnering with the team, he splits the revenue and makes more than he would have had the team not been there. That's helping people help others and benefiting through a business model innovation at the same time. And so that's, I think, just a great illustration of that.